This audiobook reveals the next step in manifestation, the sacred shift from wanting to having. As you listen, you'll awaken to the truth that abundance has never been missing. It has only been waiting for your alignment. Take the next step now and watch the universe mirror your readiness in ways you once believed impossible. The next step. Introduction. Within the quiet chambers of your inner being, something ancient begins to awaken, an eternal pulse that has lived within you since before memory. Beyond the physical world lies an unseen realm, a subtle dimension that has always been shaping your reality, awaiting only your willingness to notice its presence. The universe, like a sacred mirror, does not reflect your wishes or your words, but the frequency of who you believe yourself to be. The law of attraction is not driven by effort, struggle, or force. It is guided by vibration. When you release the compulsion to push life into place, you step into the effortless rhythm of allowing. In this space, manifestation becomes natural, not earned, fluid, not forced. You were taught to strive, to prove yourself, to demonstrate worthiness. Yet the universe holds no ledger, no measure of deserving. Your true nature is abundance, and your rightful state is ease. The only barrier has ever been your hesitation to claim what was already yours. Every breath offers a crossroads, to dwell in the vibration of longing, or to rise into the energy of fulfillment. This shift is not about positive thinking, it is about energetic truth. When you embody the frequency of what you desire, the universe must meet you there. The chapters that follow are not instructions for becoming more. They are invitations to remember. They are portals leading you back to your original essence, the place where abundance is not a pursuit, but a recognition. Manifestation is not the art of acquiring. It is the unveiling of what has always been present within you. You are not mastering new techniques. You are awakening ancient memory. You are not taking a step forward. You are realizing you are already standing at the threshold. The next step is the shift into awareness of what has been waiting within you all along. This wisdom has been encoded in the fabric of your existence, patiently resting until this very moment. Now is the hour of remembrance. Now is the return to truth. The universe does not judge or deny. It simply echoes the beliefs you hold most deeply. Align with this eternal law and watch as the unseen becomes tangible, as what once felt distant moves into your present moment, as what you desire reveals itself as a natural extension of who you truly are. You are not seeking abundance. You are its source, its vessel, its expression. And now, you are ready for the next step. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Opening of Inner Vision. Chapter 1. The Door You Didn't Knock On. In a quiet mountain village, a young weaver named Lila sat at her loom each day, creating beautiful tapestries that captured the dreams in her heart. Though her hands wove masterpieces, she could never bring herself to display them in the marketplace. "When they're perfect," she would whisper, rolling up another finished piece and tucking it away in a cedar chest. One evening, as shadows lengthened across her workshop floor, an old woman appeared at her door. Her eyes sparkled with ancient wisdom as she gazed at the hidden treasures in Lila's chest. "Child," she said, Your dreams are not waiting for perfection. They are waiting for your permission. The words stirred something deep within Lila's spirit. She realized she had been waiting for an external signal, some cosmic sign that she was ready. Yet the universe had been waiting just as patiently for her to grant herself permission to shine. The barrier was never in the stars. It lived in her heart. In every moment, the universe mirrors back to you exactly what you believe you deserve. Like Lila, you may create magnificent dreams within your soul, yet hold them captive behind walls of unworthiness. The law of attraction responds not to your wishes, but to your energetic signature, the frequency you emit through your deepest beliefs about what is possible for you. When you shift from asking, "Am I ready?" to declaring, "I am ready," the universe must respond in kind. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. This is not demanding. It is allowing. The difference lies in the subtle yet powerful space between yearning and knowing. In a marketplace far from Lila's village, a merchant named Hassan arranged his wares each morning. One day, a mysterious traveler paused at his stall. "Your hope fights your doubt," the traveler observed. "They cancel each other like waves meeting in opposite directions, leaving the surface still." Hassan recognized the truth in these words. For years, he had balanced his dreams of expansion with fears of failure. Each step forward was matched by a step back, creating the illusion of movement while remaining in place. What appears as delay in your life is often perfect alignment in process. When you release the need to see proof before believing, you allow the universe to orchestrate events in divine timing. Your task is not to force the flow, but to maintain the frequency of expectant readiness. Ancient practice of receiving. As the first light of dawn touches the horizon, find a quiet space within. Close your eyes and whisper these sacred words. "Today, I am ready to receive." Let this vibration fill your chest cavity until gratitude, not longing, emerges naturally from your heart. From this elevated state, observe how the universe responds through unexpected encounters, divine timing, and gentle synchronicities that mirror your newfound readiness. Chapter 2. The Whisper Before the Miracle. In every garden grows the very answer you seek, though your eyes may pass over it 1,000 times before recognition dawns. Calvin, whose weathered hands tended the finest gardens in the valley, spent years nurturing others' dreams, while his own lay dormant, like seeds in frozen soil. Each morning he would whisper to the flowers, sharing his hopes for change, for growth, for transformation. The universe had already begun responding, painting signs in the unfurling of new leaves and the dance of morning light through the mist. But Calvin searched for grand gestures, missing the quiet symphony of alignment playing all around him. You see, the universal law speaks first in whispers. It places gentle nudges along your path, the unexpected conversation, a book falling open to the perfect page, a sudden insight while watching leaves dance in the wind. These are not coincidences, but confirmations. When you attune yourself to this subtle language, you discover that answers arrive long before questions fully form. The garden itself holds this wisdom. Each seed contains complete knowing of its full potential, never doubting its right to bloom. It does not waste energy wondering if it deserves the sun's warmth or the rain's blessing. It simply grows, moment by moment, in perfect trust. One spring morning, as Calvin pruned the roses, a young girl wandered into the garden. She plucked a single dandelion, closed her eyes, and blew its seeds to the wind. "What did you wish for?" Calvin asked. "I didn't wish," she replied, watching the seeds drift away. "I thanked the dandelion for already bringing me joy." In that moment, Calvin understood. The child's pure acceptance, her simple gratitude for what already existed, carried more power than all his years of yearning. She didn't separate the asking from the receiving. To her, they were one continuous movement, like breathing in and breathing out. Your waiting is not punishment, but preparation. Just as winter isn't a denial of spring, but its necessary prelude, your current state isn't a barrier to your desires, but the very soil from which they'll grow. The universe never withholds, it cultivates, preparing the perfect conditions for your dreams to take root. Practice. As night falls, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit in stillness for 1 minute longer than feels comfortable. Let your breath become a bridge between questioning and knowing. Inhale as if each breath draws in answers. Exhale as if releasing the need to ask. Pay attention to the subtle impressions that arise in this extended silence. Tomorrow, treat these impressions as breadcrumbs left by the universe leading you toward alignment. Follow them with the same unquestioning trust a seed has in the soil that cradles it. Chapter 3. The Mirror Knows First. Long ago, in a quiet village among rolling hills, there lived a young woman named Evelyn, whose beauty touched all who met her, all except herself. Each morning she would hurry past mirrors and avoid still ponds, as though her reflection carried a curse rather than truth. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, could only reflect back the love she withheld from herself. The law of reflection governs more than mere light upon polished glass. Your outer world mirrors your inner reality with perfect precision. When you turn away from yourself, the universe cannot show you what you refuse to see. This ancient truth reveals why some spend years searching for love while unknowingly pushing it away with their own resistance. Your relationship with your reflection holds power beyond mortal understanding. Each averted gaze, each moment of self-criticism ripples outward into the cosmic fabric, instructing the universe to maintain that very distance you create. The mirror does not judge. It simply shows what you believe about yourself with unwavering honesty. As light must bounce off a surface to create an image, so must love reflect from within before it can manifest without. Your inner dialogue shapes the very reality you experience. When you reject your reflection, you unknowingly command the universe to honor that rejection in all forms. In time, Evelyn discovered this truth through an extraordinary encounter. One morning, passing a shop window, she caught sight of her reflection laughing, though she herself had not yet smiled. Startled, she stopped and watched as her mirror self radiated joy she had not yet allowed herself to feel. In that moment, she understood. Her reflection wasn't showing her who she was, but who she was becoming. This revelation speaks to a deeper truth. The universe always knows your potential before you embrace it. Like a mirror reflecting light from the future, it shows you glimpses of your emerging self, waiting for you to align with that vision. The practice passed down through generations offers a path to this alignment. Each morning, stand before your mirror until the urge to look away subsides. Meet your own gaze with unwavering presence and speak these words: I see who I am becoming. Let each syllable resonate within your chest. Observe how the energy shifts. This is the sound of readiness taking form. This simple yet powerful ritual begins the process of allowing your outer reality to reflect your inner light. The mirror is not your enemy. It is a sacred tool of transformation, showing you not just who you are, but who you are becoming. When you embrace your reflection, you give the universe permission to reflect that same acceptance back to you in countless ways. Chapter 4. The Garden Between Thoughts. In a bustling city lived a man named Arthur, whose days were measured in tasks completed and goals achieved. His calendar overflowed with appointments, his desk with to-do lists, and his mind with endless plans. Even in his garden, he could not rest, constantly pulling at seedlings to check their growth, pruning before branches had fully formed, and watering until the soil drowned in his anxious attention. One morning, after falling ill, Arthur was forced to abandon his garden for a full moon cycle. He watched helplessly through his window as nature took its course without his intervention. To his amazement, when he finally returned, his garden had transformed. Flowers bloomed in unexpected places, vegetables grew abundant and strong, and even the wild herbs he had fought to control had created a harmonious pattern he could never have planned. The universe operates through perfect timing, not forced action. Your desires are seeds already planted in the fertile soil of possibility. Like Arthur's garden, they require your trust more than your toil. When you step back from constant doing, you allow the natural forces of creation to work through you rather than against you. Life itself knows how to grow. The oak tree does not strain to become what it already is. The river does not push its way to the ocean. Your manifestations follow this same divine order. They unfold not through force, but through faith. Years later, Arthur discovered an abandoned plot overtaken by what others called weeds. As he sat watching these wild plants day after day, he noticed how they danced with the wind, how they attracted butterflies he had never seen, how they created shelter for small creatures. What appeared as chaos held its own perfect order. These untamed plants taught him that resistance to what is becomes the very obstacle to what could be. Every unwanted circumstance carries within it the seed of your next evolution. What you fight against persists. What you embrace transforms. In your own life, those periods of apparent inaction are not delays, but vital phases of preparation. Like the seed in darkness beneath the soil, your desires gather strength in silence before breaking through to light. Practice. Find a patch of earth, in a park, a garden, or even a potted plant. Sit before it in complete stillness for at least 15 minutes. Observe without touching, planning, or trying to change anything. Notice how life moves in its own rhythm, how growth happens without force. Let this living meditation remind you that the universe knows the perfect season for your dreams to bloom. Chapter 5. The Cup Already Full. Once there lived a woman who gathered treasures like a magpie collects shining things. In her modest dwelling, May filled every shelf, drawer, and corner with items she believed would bring her joy. Each new acquisition promised happiness, yet left her yearning for more. Her home became so crowded that she could barely move between the stacks of books she hadn't read, clothes she never wore, and gifts she couldn't give away. Despite her abundance, May's prayers remained the same. Universe, send me more. I need more to feel complete. Yet with each new blessing that arrived, she merely added it to her collection, never truly experiencing its value. The universe speaks through patterns, and its wisdom echoes in the natural world. Just as a vessel must be emptied before it can receive fresh water, your life must create space for new blessings to flow. When you clutch tightly to what you have, you signal to the universe that you fear scarcity. This fear becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, blocking the very abundance you seek. True abundance flows not from accumulation, but from circulation. Every breath demonstrates this truth. You must exhale fully before taking in fresh air. Money, love, opportunities. These energies require movement. They stagnate when hoarded, but multiply when allowed to flow freely through your life. In a distant mountain village lived a wise woman known for her healing tea. When May sought her guidance, she brought an ornate cup already full of water. The elder smiled and lifted her teapot. "I cannot fill what is already full," she said simply. May understood. She walked to the garden and poured out her water. Only then did the elder fill her cup with the sacred tea, its aroma rich with wisdom. "The universe's gifts are like this tea," the elder explained. "They can only flow into a space prepared to receive them." This truth resonates in your own life. Each time you hold on to something out of fear, you prevent new blessings from reaching you. Your attachment to what is becomes a barrier to what could be. Ancient practice of release. Find a quiet moment as the sun sets. Take 3 pieces of paper. On each, write one thing you are ready to release, a belief, a possession, or a situation that no longer serves your highest good. With reverence, burn these papers or bury them in the earth. As you do, speak these words: I release what is complete. I open to what awaits. Allow yourself to rest in the sacred emptiness you've created, trusting that the universe's abundance will naturally flow into this space, like water seeking its level. Let your heart become an empty cup, ready to receive the universe's endless gifts. Chapter 6. Candles Don't Compete. In a village where lanterns danced in evening windows, there lived a young woman named Pearl, who spent her nights watching others' lights shine. From her darkened window she observed the warm glow emanating from neighboring homes, each beam seeming brighter and more beautiful than any light she could create. Her own candle, though perfectly capable of illuminating her path, appeared dim and insignificant in comparison. Night after night Pearl's attention fixed on others' radiance, imagining their lives must shimmer with a brilliance her own could never match. As her focus drifted further from her own flame, her candle began to flicker, struggling against the weight of her neglect. Until one evening, in a moment of complete absorption in another's glow, her own light extinguished entirely. The truth awaits in stillness. Comparison dims your inner light. When you measure your radiance against another's, you participate in an illusion that serves neither. The universe knows no hierarchy of light. Each soul carries a unique frequency meant to resonate at its particular pitch. Your light was never meant to mirror another's. It was designed to harmonize in the grand symphony of being. What appears as greater brightness in others often reflects the attention you've withdrawn from your own flame. The law of attraction responds not to what you admire in others, but to the energy you cultivate within. When you dim your light in reverence to another's, You signal to the universe that you prefer shadows to your authentic radiance. In the depths of her darkness, Pearl discovered an ancient truth through an unexpected encounter. A wise woman approached her, carrying nothing but a single candle. Without words, she offered her flame to Pearl's unlit wick. As Pearl's candle caught the fire, she noticed something remarkable. The wise woman's light didn't diminish by sharing. Instead, both flames danced brighter together. "See how the darkness recedes twice as fast?" The wise woman smiled. "Each light strengthens all others, yet loses nothing of itself." This simple act transformed Pearl's understanding. She realized that celebrating another's light didn't require diminishing her own. Each flame in the village began to appear not as competition, but as companions in illuminating the night. Her own light, rekindled with gratitude, burned steady and true. Your brilliance needs no comparison to validate its worth. When you celebrate another's light while tending your own flame, you activate a powerful magnetic force. This is the essence of authentic attraction, not the dimming of self in deference to others, but the bright recognition that all light serves the collective radiance. Sacred practice. Each day, bless someone else's success aloud. Feel the envy transmute into expansion. That warmth you feel, that's alignment returning. Chapter 7. The Clock with No Hands. In the bustling marketplace of life, a merchant named Wilbur watched time like a miser counts coins. His days revolved around precise schedules, deadlines, and what he perceived as fleeting windows of opportunity. Each morning, he would rush to open his shop exactly as the town bell struck 7, convinced that even a moment's delay would cost him his fortune. Behind his counter, surrounded by unsold wares, Wilbur maintained countless lists marking when each opportunity should manifest. "By next week I must double my sales," he would mutter. "By month's end, I shall attract wealthy customers. Before winter arrives, my shop must become the most prosperous in town." Yet with each self-imposed deadline, his anxiety grew, and abundance seemed to slip further from his grasp. The universe operates beyond the constraints of human timing. Your readiness attracts the perfect moment, not the other way around. When you release your grip on when things must happen, you allow divine timing to work its magic. Like a flower that cannot be forced to bloom, manifestation unfolds according to natural law, not human schedules. Each moment contains infinite potential, yet you cannot access it while clutching desperately at time. Your belief in scarcity, that opportunities are limited and passing you by, creates the very delays you fear. The universe responds not to your timeline, but to your energy of trust and allowance. This truth revealed itself to Wilbur through an unexpected visitor, a blind clockmaker who entered his shop one quiet afternoon. The clockmaker carried a peculiar timepiece, its face smooth and empty, without hands or numbers. "How can anyone tell time with this?" Wilbur asked, perplexed. The clockmaker smiled. "This clock measures readiness, not hours," he explained. "It moves according to the rhythm of the soul, not the tick of seconds." As Wilbur held the strange device, he felt an unfamiliar peace wash over him. In that moment, he understood. Time was not his enemy, but his ally in perfect synchronization with his spiritual evolution. The truth emerges. What you seek arrives not by your command, but through your alignment. When you stop forcing timing, you enter the flow of divine orchestration. Every perceived delay serves your highest good, preparing the perfect conditions for your desires to manifest. Ancient practice of timeless trust. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and repeat softly, "I trust divine sequencing." Envision a clock dissolving into pure light before you. Feel the weight of urgency lifting from your shoulders as calm flows in. Let each breath remind you that perfect timing is already at work in your life. Chapter 8. When clouds rest, so should you. In the ancient hills, there lived a woman named Dorothy, who believed value flowed only from ceaseless motion. From dawn until dusk, she toiled in her fields, convinced that every moment of rest was a betrayal of her dreams. Her hands grew calloused, her shoulders bent with purpose, yet abundance remained as distant as the horizon she chased. One evening, as exhaustion painted shadows beneath her eyes, an old mystic appeared at her gate. "Your weariness speaks louder than your wishes," the mystic observed. "The universe hears not your labor, but the discord in your spirit." Dorothy protested, gesturing to her perfectly tended fields. "But without my constant work, nothing will grow." The mystic smiled and pointed to the wildflowers that bloomed untended at the field's edge. "These blossoms never strain, yet they manifest perfect beauty." The truth reveals itself. The law of attraction operates not through perpetual doing, but through harmonious being. When you align with the natural rhythm of creation, manifestation unfolds with grace rather than force. Your fatigue is not failure. It is the universe whispering that you have temporarily lost your connection to source energy. Consider how the ocean ebbs before it flows, how the moon wanes before it waxes, how the seed rests in darkness before reaching toward light. These natural cycles teach us that pause is not resistance to progress. It is progress itself. In the valley below Dorothy's farm lived a wise shepherd who spent his days watching clouds drift across the sky. As Dorothy rushed past one morning, arms full of tasks, he called out to her. "Observe how the clouds move," he said. "They neither push nor pull, yet they traverse great distances. They neither strain nor struggle, yet they transform landscapes with their gifts." Dorothy stood transfixed, watching the clouds' unhurried dance across the heavens. In that moment she understood. Progress needs not wear the mask of perpetual motion. The clouds achieved their purpose through surrender to the wind, just as we achieve ours through surrender to divine timing. This wisdom speaks directly to your journey. When you release the belief that manifestation requires constant action, you open yourself to receive support from universal forces. Balance becomes your natural state, and from this equilibrium, your desires flow to you, rather than you struggling toward them. Sacred practice. Set aside 1 hour each week as your sanctuary of sacred idleness. Choose a time when you typically feel pulled to be productive. During this hour, release all duties and expectations. Sit in your garden, watch the play of sunlight through leaves, or simply breathe. Trust that in these moments of conscious rest, the universe continues its work on your behalf. This practice isn't about escaping responsibility. It's about honoring the natural rhythm of manifestation. Let this weekly ritual remind you that being precedes doing, and that rest is not the opposite of progress, but its silent partner in creation. Chapter 9. The Music You forgot you wrote. There once lived a woman named Dorothy who measured her worth by the sweat of her brow. From sunrise to sunset she labored without cease, believing that every moment of rest was a moment wasted. Her garden flourished, her home gleamed, yet her spirit withered beneath the weight of endless doing. One evening, as exhaustion draped heavy upon her shoulders, she encountered an elder sitting peacefully by the village well. "Your fatigue speaks wisdom," the elder said, "if only you would listen. The universe whispers its truths through the language of the body. When weariness settles into your bones, it carries a message more precious than gold. This exhaustion you feel is not a sign of weakness. It is sacred data from the cosmic intelligence that flows through you. Just as the moon waxes and wanes, just as the tides ebb and flow, your energy must pulse between action and stillness. Many believe that manifestation requires constant motion, endless affirmations, and ceaseless visualization. Yet the deepest magic often unfolds in the spaces between effort, in those precious moments when you release the need to control and simply allow yourself to be. In the heights of the mountains lived a young shepherd who envied the clouds their seeming purposelessness. "How useless they are," he would say, "merely drifting without direction." One day, a wise cloud paused above him and spoke. "We drift, yes, but in our drifting we carry rain to distant lands, shade to weary travelers, and paint the sky in endless beauty. Our apparent aimlessness serves the highest purpose." This truth echoes through your own journey. Periods of rest are not pauses in your progress, they are progress themselves. When you honor these natural rhythms, you align with the universe's own breath. In stillness, solutions crystallize. In silence, inspiration whispers. In rest, renewal blooms. The power of attraction responds not to endless doing, but to energetic alignment. When you balance action with rest, striving with surrendering, you become a magnet for manifestation. The universe delights not in your exhaustion, but in your equilibrium. Sacred practice. Set aside 1 hour each week for sacred idleness. Find a comfortable space where you won't be disturbed. During this time, release all obligation to accomplish, achieve, or produce. Simply observe the beauty around you, the play of light on leaves, the rhythm of your breath, the subtle symphony of existence. Trust that in these moments of conscious rest, the universe continues its perfect orchestration of your desires. Let your being replace your doing, and watch as the magic unfolds. Chapter 10. The Feather and the Stone. In a small mountain village, there lived a woman named Nora who yearned for divine guidance. Each morning, she would climb to the highest point of her village, carrying a smooth stone of skepticism in her pocket, and demand that the universe show her a clear sign. "Make it unmistakable," she would plead, "so I know it's real." One autumn morning, as she sat with her stone, a pure white feather drifted down, landing softly beside her. She brushed it aside, waiting for something more dramatic. The next day, a peculiar cloud formation spelled out what looked like her initials. She dismissed it as coincidence. When a stranger appeared offering the exact advice she'd been seeking, she deemed it mere chance. The universe speaks in whispers before it speaks in shouts. You have been trained to seek grand gestures, but the sacred speaks through subtlety. Each moment carries messages wrapped in ordinary packaging, a song that plays at the perfect moment, a book that falls open to the exact page you need, a chance encounter that shifts your perspective. These signs are not meant to prove anything to you. They are gentle reminders of your eternal connection to the invisible web of meaning that surrounds you. When you demand proof, you create resistance to the very guidance you seek. The universe does not need to prove itself. It simply invites you to notice its constant collaboration in your journey. In the depths of winter, Nora encountered an old woman collecting herbs in the forest. The elder held up a handful of seemingly ordinary leaves and spoke. Each leaf has veins that mirror the branches above. Each plant grows in patterns that echo the stars. Nothing is random. Everything speaks if you soften your gaze to see it. That evening, Nora emptied her pocket of the skepticism stone she had carried for so long. As she did, she noticed how its spiral pattern matched the curl of the feather she had dismissed months before. In that moment, she understood. The signs had always been there, waiting patiently for her recognition. The significance lies not in the magnitude of the sign, but in your willingness to acknowledge it. Every synchronicity, no matter how small, is a thread in the tapestry of divine communication. Your recognition is what brings the pattern into focus. Ancient practice. Take a quiet moment now. Write down 3 small signs from this past week that you previously overlooked, perhaps a meaningful name that kept appearing, a repeated number sequence, or an unexpected answer to an unspoken question. Speak your gratitude softly to the mystery that sent them. As you acknowledge these subtle messages, watch how they begin to multiply, creating a constellation of guidance in your daily life. Part 2. The Expansion of Readiness. Chapter 11. The Lantern Inside the Fog. A lone traveler walked through a dense morning mist, her footsteps hesitant on the ancient stone path. Hattie clutched her shawl tighter, squinting into the thick white veil that surrounded her. Each step forward felt like a leap of faith. The familiar landscape transformed into mysterious shapes that loomed and receded in the shifting fog. The universal law whispers this truth. Uncertainty does not signal separation from your path. It merely invites a deeper trust. When the fog descends upon your journey, it arrives not to obscure but to refine your relationship with inner knowing. In these moments of apparent blindness, you are being called to navigate by the compass of your soul rather than the landmarks of the external world. Many believe clarity must precede action, waiting for the mist to clear before taking their next step. Yet the universe operates in reverse. Action, guided by trust, parts the veil. Your willingness to move forward despite limited visibility strengthens the very connection you fear losing. The fog does not dim your light. It provides the perfect backdrop for your inner radiance to shine most brilliantly. In the depths of a moonless night, Hattie discovered this wisdom. Standing at her cottage window, she lit a simple lantern, its glow barely piercing the dense fog. Yet within moments, another light appeared in a distant window, then another, and another, until the entire village glowed with borrowed courage. Her small act of faith had awakened a chain of light, proving that certainty, like flame, spreads from one heart to the next. The fog had not lifted, but it no longer mattered. Each lantern transformed the mist into a gentle golden haze, more beautiful than the clearest night. Through this, Hattie understood. Uncertainty does not weaken connection. It strengthens it by calling forth our most luminous nature. Practice of inner light. As darkness falls tonight, Light a single candle. Sit before its steady flame and breathe deeply. Rather than asking the fog of uncertainty to lift, offer gratitude for how it softens harsh edges and creates space for your inner light to glow more radiantly. Let the candlelight remind you that clarity isn't found. It emanates from within. In the gentle dance of shadow and flame, feel your connection to the infinite wisdom that guides you, even when the path ahead seems unclear. Chapter 12. The Bridge That Built Itself. In a valley between two mountains lived a carpenter named Milton, who dreamed of connecting the separated villages on either side. Each morning he would sketch elaborate plans, calculating angles and measuring distances, convinced that only through perfect preparation could his vision manifest. Yet his papers grew yellowed, and still no bridge arose. The universe operates not through careful orchestration, but through the sacred marriage of action and surrender. When you release your grip on the how, you allow the infinite intelligence that spins galaxies to arrange the pieces of your manifestation. Your role is not to engineer every detail, but to take the first step that signals your trust. What appears as empty space between where you stand and where you wish to be is actually filled with invisible support, waiting to solidify beneath your faithful footsteps. Like a spider spinning its web, you need not see the entire pattern before beginning. Each strand strengthens the next, creating a path that appears precisely when needed. One misty dawn, Milton simply began. Without plans or provisions, he laid a single plank extending from his side of the valley. To his amazement, he noticed movement from the opposite mountain. Another villager had begun building from their side. As Milton placed each board, the distant builder matched his rhythm, their efforts harmonizing across the divide. The bridge grew steadily, not from meticulous planning, but from the magnetic power of aligned action. What Milton couldn't see from his position was how the universe had orchestrated both sides to move simultaneously, each builder's courage inspiring the other's progress. This truth extends into every dream you hold. When you dare to begin, unseen forces mobilize to meet your effort. Your willingness to start, even without guarantees, creates a resonance that attracts complementary energies. The path appears not because you mapped it, but because you moved. Sacred practice. Take one uncertain action today. Choose something that calls to your heart but frightens your mind. As you step forward, imagine each movement creating solid ground beneath your feet. Feel how the air becomes a bridge, supporting you simply because you dared to trust. Remember, the universe builds toward those who begin. Chapter 13. The key was laughter. Long ago, in a village among rolling hills, lived a merchant named Hazel. Each morning she would meticulously count her inventory, furrowing her brow as she recorded every transaction in her leather-bound ledger. Though her shop prospered, a heaviness hung in the air around her, as if her dedication had become a barrier rather than a bridge. The universe speaks through the language of vibration. When you approach life with rigid seriousness, you create resistance to the natural flow of abundance. Like water meeting a dam, your blessings pool and pause, waiting for an opening through which to rush forward. The law of attraction responds not to your actions, but to your energy. When you carry the weight of worry, you transmit a frequency that attracts more reasons to worry. Yet when you allow joy to bubble up within you, you broadcast a signal that draws more joyful experiences into your field. Hazel discovered this truth through an unexpected teacher, a child who wandered into her shop one rainy afternoon. While she fretted over wet footprints on her clean floor, the little one began to dance, spinning and laughing at the sound of thunder. In that moment, Hazel witnessed how effortlessly abundance flows through the gateway of delight. In the days that followed, she began to experiment. She would smile as she opened her shop, hum while arranging her wares, and even dance a little when counting the day's earnings. To her amazement, customers lingered longer, bought more, and returned often, drawn by the lightness that now filled her space. A traveling merchant once asked Hazel the secret to her success. She replied by teaching him to laugh before making a sale, to celebrate before the customers arrived. "Joy," she explained, "is not the result of success. It is the magnetic force that draws success near." Today's practice. Stand before the rising sun and laugh for 30 seconds. Let your voice ring out without reason or reservation. Feel how this sacred sound shifts your energy, opening channels through which abundance naturally flows. Your joy needs no justification. It is both the key and the door to all you seek to manifest. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Window That Watched You First. In a quiet village, a young man named Frank spent his days peering through windows, watching life unfold around him. Each morning, he positioned himself by his shop's display, hoping to catch the attention of passers-by. Yet despite the steady stream of villagers, he felt invisible, like a shadow cast by no one. The art of being seen begins not with others' eyes, but with your own recognition. When you feel unseen, it is often because you have temporarily forgotten that the universe's gaze never wavers from you. Like sunlight touching every leaf in a forest, divine awareness embraces all beings equally and eternally. Your experience of feeling unseen stems not from the universe's blindness, but from a momentary disconnection from your own light. The law of attraction operates through mutual recognition. As you acknowledge the presence of universal consciousness in your life, it mirrors that acknowledgement back to you through countless channels. Every moment of feeling invisible carries within it an invitation to remember your inherent visibility. The universe does not need to find you. It has never lost sight of you. Instead, it waits patiently for you to rediscover its eternal presence. One evening, as Frank prepared to close his shop, he noticed his reflection in the window. Before his face had moved, he saw his own smile shimmering back at him. In that moment, he understood. The reflection had recognized him first, just as the universe's awareness preceded his own. This simple experience reveals a profound truth. Recognition is always reciprocal. When you feel the universe's presence, it is because it has already been witnessing you. Your awareness of being seen is itself evidence that you were never truly invisible. The sensation of being unseen is merely a temporary veil between your consciousness and the universe's constant attention. Like clouds passing before the sun, these moments of disconnect cannot diminish the light that continually shines upon you. Ancient practice. As you lay down to rest tonight, allow yourself to be embraced by the knowing that life itself beholds you. In the quiet darkness, whisper softly, "I know you see me." Feel the truth of these words ripple through your being. Let this acknowledgement bridge the space between your awareness and the universe's eternal gaze. This simple practice reawakens you to what has always been true. You are witnessed, known, and recognized by the very force that breathes life into the cosmos. Chapter 15. Raindrops. Remember home. High in a mountain village lived a woman named Sadie who clung to familiarity like a morning mist holds to valleys. Each day she watched clouds gather and disperse, yet remained unchanged herself, fearing the inevitable call to transformation that whispers in every heart. The clouds above held a wisdom as ancient as the sky itself. Within each droplet dwelled the memory of countless journeys, from sea to sky, from sky to earth, and back again. Yet this eternal dance of becoming brought no comfort to Sadie, who saw only the risk in releasing what was known. You too may recognize this resistance, this hesitation to release your current form and embrace the next phase of your evolution. But consider the raindrop. It does not cease to exist when it leaves the cloud. Instead, it fulfills its greater destiny by surrendering to gravity's pull, transforming from vapor to liquid, from separate to united. The universe speaks through every natural process, revealing the sacred patterns of transformation. When you resist change, you resist the very force that seeks to expand you into your fullest expression. Like a raindrop clinging to its cloud, you may believe that maintaining your current form equals safety. But true security lies not in stasis, but in trusting the cycle of eternal becoming. One morning, as storm clouds gathered above her village, Sadie witnessed an elderly woman dancing in the first drops of rain. The woman's silver hair caught the light as she spun, her arms raised in celebration of the falling water. "Each drop," the woman called out to Sadie, "remembers it was once ocean. It fears not the fall, for it knows it returns home to greatness." In that moment, something shifted in Sadie's heart. The next day, when change knocked at her door in the form of an unexpected opportunity, she felt not the usual constriction of fear, but a curious expansion, like a raindrop accelerating in its joyous descent. The wisdom remains eternally true. Transformation is not a departure from who you are, but a return to who you have always been. Like water cycling through its many forms, you are simply moving through the necessary phases of your own becoming. Practice. When uncertainty rises within you, find a quiet space and whisper these words: "I am returning to something larger." Let your breath deepen as you imagine yourself as rain remembering the sea. Feel the exhilaration of falling not into emptiness but into your own vastness. Chapter 16. The empty chair spoke first. In a quiet town by the sea lived a man named Norman who kept a pristine empty chair at his dining table. Each evening he would set out 2 plates, 2 glasses, 2 sets of silverware, though he lived alone. To passing eyes, this might have seemed a gesture of loneliness, but within the invisible realms, Norman was practicing an ancient art, the art of energetic hospitality. The universe responds not to what you plead for, but to what you prepare for. When you arrange your life as if your desires have already arrived, you create an energetic invitation that the universe cannot resist filling. This is the subtle power of visualization, not merely picturing what you want, but living as if it has already manifested. Consider how you prepare your home for an honored guest. You clean, you arrange, you anticipate their needs. This same principle applies to manifesting your deepest desires. The space you create in your physical world mirrors the space you create in your energetic field. Every empty chair is a declaration of readiness. Every extra plate is an affirmation of trust. Norman understood this truth intuitively, though he had never read it in any book. Each evening, as he laid out that second set of cutlery, he felt not the ache of absence, but the thrill of anticipation. He would touch the back of the empty chair and smile, knowing it held not emptiness, but possibility. One evening, while arranging fresh flowers at the center of his table, Norman realized something profound. The universe had been teaching him patience through his own ritual. The empty chair was not a symbol of what he lacked, but a sacred space holding his intention. Just as a host knows their guest will arrive at the perfect time, Norman had learned to trust in divine timing. What you designate as sacred becomes sacred. When you treat the space of waiting as holy ground, that very space transforms from void to vessel. Your readiness becomes a magnetic force, drawing to you that which you have already welcomed in your heart. Practice. Choose a space in your home, a corner, a shelf, an extra chair, and dedicate it to your heart's desire. Tend to this space daily as you would for an honored guest. Keep it clean, beautiful, and ready. Place something meaningful there that represents what you're calling in. An extra pillow for love, a prosperity crystal for abundance, or a journal for creative inspiration. Each time you pass this space, acknowledge it not as a reminder of what's missing, but as a testament to your trust in divine timing. Chapter 17. The Compass That Pointed Inward. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Opal carried a notebook filled with advice from fortune-tellers, mystics, and well-meaning friends. Each page contained another's truth, another's wisdom, another's path. She consulted these notes before every decision, big or small, until her life became a maze of borrowed certainties. The universe speaks its clearest through the chambers of your own heart. Yet how often you seek external confirmation, as if truth could be more trustworthy coming from another's lips. Your inner compass never loses its direction. It simply waits for you to stop drowning its whisper in the noise of others' opinions. When you constantly seek outside validation, you override the most sophisticated guidance system ever created, your own intuition. This inner knowing doesn't speak in shouts or demands. It communicates through gentle nudges, quiet certainties, and that inexplicable feeling of rightness that needs no explanation. One day, in her desperate search for answers, Opal found herself in a silent temple. As she reached for her notebook, it slipped from her hands, chapters scattering across the floor. In that moment of chaos, instead of scrambling to gather the scattered advice, she simply sat still. In the silence, she felt something she had long forgotten, the steady pulse of her own knowing. The universe had orchestrated this moment of surrender, teaching her that wisdom doesn't arrive through accumulation, but through allowing. Your inner guidance system operates with perfect precision when you stop drowning it out with external noise. Like a radio finding its station, clarity comes not from forcing, but from tuning in. Later, walking home without her notebook, Opal noticed how her body naturally turned down certain streets and paused at certain corners. She realized her inner compass had always been functioning. She had simply been too busy consulting her maps to notice. Each step felt like coming home to a truth she had always known, but forgotten to trust. Your relationship with inner guidance is not one of master and servant, but of dancer and dance. It moves through you when you allow it, guides you when you listen, and never forces its way against your resistance. The most profound answers often arrive not as thunderous revelations, but as quiet certainties that need no external confirmation. Ancient practice. In the silence of morning, sit with your heart and pose a single question. Let your body become a vessel for wisdom's response. When movement calls, follow it without questioning why. Perhaps your hands will rise, your feet will dance, or your spine will straighten. Trust this physical wisdom. It speaks a language older than words. This is the way of those who walked before us, letting their bodies become instruments of inner knowing. Chapter 18. The seed knew the song. A merchant named Luther tended his garden with heavy hands and a heavier heart. Each morning he would plant his seeds while muttering, "Why bother?" His fingers worked the soil mechanically, going through motions without faith. Yet beneath his doubt, something remarkable occurred. The seeds responded not to his skepticism, but to their own inner knowing. You see, every seed carries within it an ancient wisdom that transcends human uncertainty. The universe operates through this wisdom, moving life forward regardless of our permission or doubt. When you plant a seed, whether physical or metaphorical, it begins its journey powered by forces far greater than belief. This truth unveils itself in layers. Your dreams germinate in darkness, pushed by the same force that cracks concrete to let wildflowers bloom. The universe does not wait for perfect faith to begin its work. Your role is not to create life, but to align with its unstoppable momentum. In the depths of winter, Luther discovered this wisdom. Kneeling by his dormant garden one morning, he placed his palm against the frozen earth. To his amazement, he felt a subtle vibration, the quiet hum of sleeping seeds preparing their spring dance. In that moment, he understood. These seeds had never needed his confidence, only his participation. The soil spoke to Luther in rhythms he had never noticed before. Each beat whispered the same message. Life moves forward, with or without our permission. His doubt had never stopped the seeds. It had only stopped him from witnessing their magnificent unfolding. This revelation mirrors your own journey with manifestation. Your dreams are already in motion, humming beneath the surface of consciousness. They do not require your constant verification to grow. Like seeds in the earth, they simply ask for your gentle attention and patience. Ancient practice. Select a small intention, perhaps as tiny as a mustard seed. Plant it in the soil of your consciousness without fanfare or announcement. Each morning, bend close to the earth of your being and whisper one word of blessing over this planted dream. Do not dig it up to check its progress. Trust the darkness where miracles begin. Let it grow in secret, knowing that life's wisdom needs no permission to unfold. Chapter 19. The door opened inward. In a village among ancient hills, Ruth spent her days gazing at closed gates. Each morning, she would walk the perimeter of her life, touching locks that seemed to mock her desires. Merchants wouldn't notice her wares, opportunities passed her by, and abundance appeared to favor everyone but her. until one dawn when an old woman selling mirrors approached. "Why do you circle these outer walls?" the woman asked, holding up a small hand mirror. "I seek entry," Ruth replied, "but every gate remains sealed." "Look," the woman commanded, presenting the mirror. In that moment of reflection, Ruth saw what centuries of wisdom have whispered. The gates of the universe respond not to external pressure, but to internal permission. What appears locked from without is truly sealed from within. The universe operates through a divine paradox. You already possess what you seek. Your experience mirrors your inner sanctuary. When you stand before life's gates feeling unworthy, the universe must honor that energy. Not because you lack merit, but because universal law matches your self-granted permissions. Your readiness isn't measured in external qualifications, but in internal allowance. The universe doesn't withhold, it reflects. Every perceived barrier in your physical world represents a boundary in your energetic field. The gates you see are shadows of inner doorways you've yet to walk through. Ruth discovered this truth one evening while pushing against another closed door. Frustrated, she finally stopped and turned around. There, in the fading light, she saw that what she thought was a door pushing outward was actually meant to be pulled inward. The moment she shifted her approach, it opened effortlessly. This is the sacred mechanics of manifestation. What appears as external resistance is often internal protection. Your soul creates these temporary barriers not to deny you, but to ensure you're truly ready for what waits on the other side. The key isn't to force the gates, but to grant yourself permission to walk through them. The practice. Stand before a mirror or find a quiet space. Place your hand on your heart and speak these words. I, your name, grant myself complete permission to receive. I approve my own readiness. I trust my worthiness. I allow my good to flow. Feel the resonance of these words in your chest. That vibration is the sound of inner doors swinging open, and outer reality has no choice but to follow. Chapter 20. The sun waited patiently. In a distant mountain village, Clarence watched the sun sink below the horizon, his heart heavy with regret. Each evening he would climb to the highest point overlooking the valley, tormented by memories of opportunities he believed had slipped forever from his grasp. One day, as shadows lengthened across the mountainside, an elderly shepherd approached. His weathered face held the peaceful wisdom of countless sunsets witnessed. "You watch with such sorrow," the shepherd observed. "Do you fear the light will never return?" "My chances have set like this, son," Clarence replied. "I hesitated when fortune knocked, and now the moment has passed." The shepherd smiled. "Observe carefully," he said, gesturing to the sky's transformation. "The sun doesn't struggle to rise again. It knows its nature is to return." This truth lies at the heart of universal timing. Nothing truly vanishes from your path. What appears as missed opportunity is merely preparation in disguise. The universe operates in cycles, not straight lines. When you perceive a chance as lost, you're witnessing not an ending, but a gathering of energy for its next appearance. Your readiness has seasons, like the turning of the earth. What seems like departure is often divine timing, allowing you to evolve into the person who can fully receive what you seek. The universe never withdraws its gifts permanently. It simply allows them to orbit until your energy aligns with their return. Later that year, Clarence encountered a young artist who sought his guidance. As he shared wisdom born from his perceived failures, he realized his missed opportunities had been preparing him for this moment of service. His delays had transformed into deeper understanding. The sun's daily journey reminds us, everything returns when we release our grip on timing. What matters is not the moment that passed, but your willingness to recognize its echo when it circles back, enriched by your growth. Sacred practice. Find a place to witness either sunrise or sunset. As light transforms the sky, speak these words with quiet certainty. Nothing is gone. Everything circles back when I'm prepared. Let nature's rhythm remind you that readiness never expires. It only deepens with each turning of the wheel. Part 3. The Embodiment of Seeing. Chapter 21. The Stream That Forgot It Was Flowing. In a secluded valley, Beatrice sat beside a still pond, lamenting the seeming motionlessness of her life. Each morning felt identical to the last, as though time had frozen around her while the rest of the world spun forward. "Nothing changes," she whispered to her reflection. A leaf fell onto the water's surface, creating ripples that transformed her mirrored image. As the circles expanded outward, she noticed how even in apparent stillness, microscopic movements danced across the water. The surface was never truly static. It breathed with subtle currents, shifted with unseen winds, and responded to life's gentlest touches. The universe speaks through such moments of quiet revelation. Your life, like water, maintains constant motion even when your eyes perceive stillness. What appears as stagnation is merely movement too subtle for conscious awareness. Just as a plant grows without announcing each cell's division, your evolution continues beneath the surface of perception. The law of perpetual motion governs all existence, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Nothing truly stops. It simply shifts form, pace, or direction. When you feel stuck, you have not ceased moving. You have only temporarily lost awareness of the flow. This perception of pause serves as an invitation to attune yourself to life's more delicate rhythms. Consider how the earth spins at remarkable speed, yet you rarely sense its motion. Your own transformation moves with similar constancy, regardless of your awareness. The universe maintains its eternal dance whether you notice the music or not. Later that day, Beatrice discovered a stream winding through the forest. Unlike her earlier resignation, she now watched with awakened eyes. The water moved differently at various depths, swift on the surface, gentle below, nearly still at the bottom, yet all parts belonged to the same flow. In that moment she understood. Her life had never stopped moving. She had simply been looking at the wrong layer. The stream taught her that progress doesn't always announce itself with rapids and waterfalls. Sometimes it whispers through subtle currents, carrying you forward with such gentleness that movement feels like rest. Sacred practice. Before you rest each night, take a quiet moment with your journal. Write down 3 instances of motion you noticed that day, no matter how small. Perhaps a shift in perspective, a new thought, or a tiny step forward. Thank each movement for revealing life's constant flow. This practice reawakens your awareness to the eternal river of growth carrying you forward, even when the surface appears still. Chapter 22. The Bird That Waited for Wind. A merchant kept a prized bird in an ornate cage. Each morning, Chester would meticulously clean its perches, replenish its water, and offer the finest seeds. Yet despite his endless preparations, he never opened the cage door, fearing his cherished companion would fly away. The bird's unspread wings became a mirror of his own unrealized potential. The universe speaks not through what you do, but through what you allow. Your preparations, while born of care, can become elaborate forms of resistance. Like Chester, you may find yourself perfecting the cage rather than trusting the sky. Each detail checked becomes another link in the chain of delay. Every preparation another excuse to postpone the moment of release. Trust operates beyond the realm of readiness. No amount of preparation can substitute for the simple act of opening your wings to the wind. The air that holds eagles aloft does not demand credentials. It simply waits for surrender to its lifting power. Your dreams hover similarly, requiring not your endless refinement, but your willingness to be carried. Consider how a leaf doesn't question the breeze that lifts it. It doesn't analyze the air currents or calculate its trajectory. The leaf simply releases its hold when autumn calls, trusting in forces it cannot see. This is the wisdom that transcends preparation, the knowing that support exists before evidence appears. One day, while adjusting the cage's latch for the 100th time, Chester witnessed a remarkable sight. A flock of geese passed overhead, their wings hardly moving as thermal currents carried them southward. The birds floated effortlessly, having mastered the art of allowing themselves to be held by invisible forces. In that moment, Chester understood the cage had never truly held the bird. His own fear had confined them both. With trembling fingers, he finally opened the door. To his amazement, the bird did not immediately flee. Instead, it stepped calmly onto his finger, spread its wings, and demonstrated that freedom was not about escaping, but about trusting in one's inherent ability to soar. The universe does not require your readiness to support you. It simply awaits your permission to demonstrate its ever-present embrace. Sacred practice. Find an open space beneath the sky. Stand with your arms extended wide, feeling the air that surrounds you. Let your breath sink with the wind's gentle touch. Whisper these words of trust. I am carried. Feel the truth of these words in your body. You have always been supported, even before you recognized it. The sky has been waiting to lift you, just as it has held every bird that ever dared to spread its wings. Chapter 23. The Tree That Bowed to Grow. In ancient times, a wise woman named Ida tended to a magnificent garden atop a sacred mountain. Her trees grew taller and straighter than any others in the land, and travelers journeyed far to witness their splendor. Ida took great pride in her ability to cultivate such perfection, ensuring each branch reached skyward without a single bend or imperfection. One day, as storm clouds gathered on the horizon, an old wanderer sought shelter in her garden. "Your trees are beautiful," he observed, "but they seem afraid to dance." Ida dismissed his words, assuring him that her trees were examples of ideal growth. The wanderer simply smiled and departed before the first raindrops fell. That night, a great tempest descended upon the mountain. As fierce winds howled, Ida watched in horror as her beloved trees began to sway and bend. She rushed out into the storm, attempting to brace them with ropes and stakes, desperate to maintain their perfect vertical lines. But nature's force proved too powerful for her interference. When morning came, Ida discovered something remarkable. While many of her rigid, unbending trees had snapped under the storm's might, those that had yielded to the wind not only survived, but emerged stronger. Where each trunk had bowed, new growth had begun to sprout. The universe speaks through every bend and bow of life. Your resistance to flexibility creates the very breaking points you fear. When you release the grip of control, allowing life to shape you through its storms, you discover that humility is not weakness. It is wisdom incarnate. In the marketplace of a distant city lived a merchant named Chen, who prided himself on never compromising. His shop stood like a monument to inflexibility, until the day the emperor's procession required all buildings along the road to be modified. Those who resisted lost their shops entirely. But Chen, remembering an old dream about a bending reed, chose to adapt. His humble willingness to change transformed his shop into the emperor's favorite stop, proving that those who bow before the winds of change rise again with greater strength. Your resistance to life's redirections stems from a misunderstanding of strength. True power lies not in standing unmoved, but in flowing with the currents of divine timing. Each moment of surrender creates space for grace to enter. Practice. Find a quiet moment today and reflect on one event that humbled you deeply. Rather than viewing it as a wound, recognize it as a sacred bow that allowed new growth. Write down how this experience expanded your capacity for understanding, compassion, or wisdom. Thank the storm that taught you to bend, for it gifted you height that rigid resistance could never achieve. Chapter 24. The Library of Unwritten Chapters. In a quiet village among ancient hills, a scribe named Howard spent his days watching others live their adventures while his own remained locked within. Each morning he would sit at his wooden desk, quill poised above empty parchment, waiting for permission from life to begin his tale. Through his window, he observed merchants embarking on trade journeys, healers discovering remedies, and craftsmen creating works of beauty. Yet his own chapters remained blank, a mirror of his hesitation to recognize his own unfolding story. What Howard failed to see was that the universe had already begun writing through him. Each moment of yearning was a word taking shape, each day of preparation a sentence forming. The blank page before him hummed with invisible ink, waiting only for his recognition to become visible. The truth of creation flows thus. Stories exist before they are written. Your purpose breathes before you name it. Just as a flower knows its color before it blooms, your path knows its direction before you step upon it. You are not behind. You are precisely where the story needs you to be. In the depths of night, when doubt whispered loudest, Howard encountered an old storyteller in his dreams. She sat by a fire that cast no shadow, weaving tales that seemed to float in the air like golden threads. "Why do you wait?" she asked, her voice carrying the wisdom of ages. "These stories are already living inside you. They pulse in your blood, echo in your breath. The universe has been writing through you since before you drew your first breath." Howard woke to find his quill moving across the page of its own accord, guided by something greater than his doubt. In that moment, he understood. He hadn't been waiting for the story to begin. He had been waiting to notice it was already being told. The chapters of your life are not empty. They glow with invisible words waiting for your recognition. Each hesitation, each moment of uncertainty, Each quiet morning of wondering when, these are not delays but necessary chapters in your unfolding. Your purpose is not a distant shore to reach, but a current already moving through you. The universe does not require your readiness to begin its work. It simply waits for you to notice its ongoing creation. Sacred practice. Take up your pen today. Write one line, any line, without judgment or expectation. Feel how the universe rushes forward to meet your courage, expanding that single line into possibilities you could not have planned. Trust that in beginning, you are not starting something new, but joining a story that has been waiting for your participation. Let the first word be your permission for all that follows. Chapter 25. The Lighthouse remembered its light. In a coastal town where mists gathered thick as wool, there lived a keeper of lights named Millie. Each evening, as darkness descended like a heavy cloak, she would climb the spiral stairs of her lighthouse, questioning whether her beam truly pierced the fog at all. On nights when no ships passed and no bells rang in answer to her signal, doubt would creep in like the damp air. "Perhaps my light makes no difference," she would whisper to the empty horizon. Yet unknown to her, far beyond the veil of fog, countless vessels adjusted their course by her steady beam. The universe speaks this truth. Your presence holds power even when you cannot witness its effect. Just as a lighthouse beam exists, whether ships pass or not, your inner light maintains its radiance through every season. Those moments when you feel most unseen are often when your light guides others most powerfully. Consider how the sun does not cease to exist behind clouds, nor does a star's brilliance diminish because daylight obscures it from view. Your essential nature, that inner beacon of purpose and potential, remains constant regardless of external conditions. What appears as darkness is merely a temporary veil between your light and your awareness of it. In the depths of night, a wise elder visited Millie's lighthouse. Instead of lighting more lamps, she guided Millie to stand in complete darkness. "Feel the light within you," she instructed. It was there before the lighthouse, before the fog, before the doubt. The structure around you merely amplifies what you already are. This truth extends to you now. You are not the circumstances that surround you, but the unchanging essence that persists through all conditions. In moments when purpose seems distant or impact appears minimal, remember, a lighthouse doesn't question its worth during the fog. It simply continues to shine, trusting in the unwavering truth of its nature. Practice. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as a lighthouse glowing through fog, knowing ships see you long before you see them. Feel the strength of your inner light, constant and unwavering, regardless of external visibility. Trust that your presence serves even when evidence remains hidden behind the mists of temporary circumstance. Close your eyes and picture that solitary lighthouse rising from the shoreline, its beam cutting through layers of fog that seem almost alive. Though the world around it is muted and unseen, the lighthouse never doubts its purpose. It shines because shining is its nature, not because anyone is watching. As you imagine yourself in that form, feel the quiet authority of your own inner radiance, a light that persists even when circumstances obscure your impact. In the thickness of the fog, ships navigate by faith in a glow they may not fully see. trusting its presence long before it comes into clear view. In the same way, your energy, your kindness, your truth ripple outward in ways you cannot always witness. Your influence doesn't depend on applause or recognition. It moves in subtle, unseen currents, guiding those who cross your path. This is the power of a steady soul. It supports others simply by existing in alignment with its essence. Let the image settle into your awareness like a soft truth returning home. You are not meant to measure your worth by how visible you feel in any given moment. The fog that surrounds you is temporary, while the light within you is eternal. Continue to shine with quiet confidence, knowing that your presence is already shaping paths, offering direction, and touching lives in ways that will one day become clear. Chapter 26. The Silence That Spoke Truth. In a bustling marketplace stood a merchant named Hank, who filled every moment with noise. From dawn until dusk, he surrounded himself with the clamor of commerce, the chatter of customers, and the constant hum of activity. Even in his home, he kept music playing and windows open to let in street sounds, as if silence itself was an unwelcome guest. When asked why he avoided quiet moments, Hank would say, "Stillness breeds stagnation. Movement means progress." Yet beneath his words lay an unspoken fear, that in silence he might hear truths he wasn't ready to face. One day, a mysterious illness took his voice. No healer could explain it, no remedy could cure it. Forced into silence, Hank discovered something extraordinary. When his outer world grew quiet, his inner world began to speak. The universe reveals this truth. Silence is not empty, it is full of answers. Like the space between musical notes that gives melody its meaning, stillness creates the rhythm through which divine guidance flows. Your inner wisdom speaks not in shouts, but in whispers, heard only when the mind grows still. In the quiet hours of his voiceless days, Hank began to notice subtle signals he'd previously ignored. He felt gentle nudges guiding his decisions, clear, knowing arising from nowhere, and a deep sense of rightness that required no words. His business flourished not through constant action, but through aligned choices, born in silence. The merchants who visited him now spoke of a strange phenomenon. Though Hank couldn't speak, they left his presence feeling more deeply heard than ever before. For in his silence, he had learned to listen not just with his ears, but with his entire being. The universe teaches, when you embrace stillness, you tune into the frequency of divine instruction. Like a radio finding its station, your soul naturally aligns with higher wisdom when you clear away the static of constant noise. Every answer you seek already exists in the quiet spaces between your thoughts. Sacred practice. Find a place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. For 10 minutes, release all effort to think, plan, or solve. Simply rest in complete silence. Notice how one word or phrase may begin to surface repeatedly. This is your soul's whisper, waiting to be heard. When the time concludes, write down what emerged in the silence. Trust that this message carries the exact wisdom you need in this moment. Chapter 27. The bridge behind you disappeared. Through sacred silence, the universe offers you the wisdom you've been searching for in the noise. Each quiet moment unveils layers of understanding that the chaos of daily life conceals. When you step away from the constant movement, you discover that stillness is not empty. It is pregnant with possibility. Within the depths of silence lies an ancient truth. Forward motion requires burning the bridges behind you. Just as a caterpillar must surrender its familiar form to become a butterfly, you too must release your grip on what was to embrace what will be. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, often removes the very options you cling to, not as punishment, but as liberation. Witness how life gently closes doors you've outgrown, though you may try to keep them propped open. These aren't losses, they are cosmic commitments to your evolution. Each time you find a familiar path blocked, know that it's because your destiny requires undivided attention. The universe speaks clearly through what it removes. Consider how water flows forward with such grace. It never attempts to flow backward. This is the natural way of all things. When you resist moving forward, life itself will create circumstances that make retreat impossible. What appears as limitation is actually liberation. The fear of forward motion dissolves when you understand this truth. The universe removes safe harbors not to destabilize you, but to reveal your innate capacity for flight. Every closed door behind you becomes a wall of support, ensuring your momentum continues in the direction of your highest good. Remember, your destiny often requires you to release the very things you think you need for security. These apparent losses are sacred agreements between your soul and the universe, conspiring to keep you aligned with your highest path. Practice. Stand in silence before a mirror. Close your eyes and recall 3 doors that have recently closed in your life. For each one, place your hand over your heart and whisper, "Thank you for guiding me forward." Feel the gentle pressure of the universe at your back, lovingly nudging you toward your destiny. Know that each closed door is not an ending, but a sacred commitment to your becoming. Stand before the mirror and let your reflection fade into the background of your awareness, becoming less a face and more a presence. As you recall each door that has closed, hold it tenderly in your mind, not as a loss, but as a point of transition. When your hand rests over your heart and you whisper gratitude, you are acknowledging the unseen wisdom that shaped those endings. This simple act becomes a signal to your inner self that you are willing to trust the path unfolding beneath your feet. With every quiet inhalation, feel the subtle force behind you, that gentle, unwavering support that seems to rise from the very fabric of existence. It is the sensation of being guided without being pushed, encouraged without being controlled. This presence is the reminder that your journey is not directionless. It moves with intention. Closed doors serve as markers, redirecting you not away from something, but toward the chapters that truly belong to your evolution. As your eyes slowly open, let the person in the mirror appear as someone in the midst of transformation, someone who has survived transitions, grown through them, and now stands ready for what comes next. Know that each ending was an agreement made by a wiser part of you, ensuring that what no longer aligns gently releases its hold. These closures are not denials of your path, but affirmations of it, shaping the way forward so you can step into the life designed for your becoming. Chapter 28. The Moon Waits for No Permission. In a village among ancient hills, Roy spent his days dimming his brilliance. Each morning, he would gaze at his reflection in the stream, practicing smaller versions of his smile, rehearsing softer tones of his voice. He believed that, to be accepted, he must first ask permission to illuminate the world around him. One evening, while walking through the forest, questioning his worth, Roy encountered the full moon floating above the trees. Its radiance touched everything without hesitation or apology. The moon did not ask the stars if it could outshine them, nor did it seek the sun's approval to reflect its magnificent light. The universe speaks through such celestial wisdom, revealing truths that have existed since the dawn of creation. Your light, like the moon's reflection, requires no external validation to shine. The very essence of who you are, your gifts, your voice, your presence, these are not privileges to be earned, but birthrights to be expressed. Many souls walk this earth believing they must first gather enough approving nods before allowing their inner radiance to emerge. Yet the universe operates on precisely the opposite principle. Your willingness to shine without permission is what magnetically draws others to your light. When you align with your authentic expression, you activate a cosmic law of attraction that transcends human approval. Just as the moon's glow naturally draws eyes skyward, your genuine self-expression creates an energetic field that attracts exactly what resonates with your truth. In the second night of Roy's awakening, he watched as nocturnal creatures navigated by moonlight, without once questioning if the moon should shine less brightly. Moths danced in its beams, wolves howled in its presence, and tides responded to its pull, all without the moon ever dimming its reflection. This simple truth transformed Roy's understanding. Nature itself demonstrates that authentic expression is not an act of defiance, but one of divine alignment. The moon does not shine to outdo the stars. It shines because that is its natural state of being. Ancient practice. Stand in direct sunlight or moonlight today. Feel the warmth or glow touch your skin. Now, step forward and express one truth you've been holding back. Share that idea, wear that outfit, sing that song, or speak that dream aloud. Like the moon reflecting the sun's light, allow your authentic self to shine without seeking permission. Your radiance is not a question awaiting an answer. It is a gift already approved by the universe itself. Chapter 29. The Diamond Inside Dust. In a distant mountain village, Clara knelt each day beside a stream, washing rough stones and cursing their resistance to shine. Her hands grew calloused from the endless scrubbing, yet the stones remained stubbornly dull. "Why must everything be so difficult?" she would whisper to the rushing waters. "What have I done to deserve such hardship?" But the universe does not speak in punishment. It whispers in possibility. Every pressure you face serves as the sacred tool of transformation, not the sentence of suffering you imagine it to be. Like Clara, you may view life's challenges as evidence of cosmic disapproval, yet this perception masks a deeper truth. The diamond does not curse the earth that holds it tight, nor does it resist the tremendous pressure that shapes its brilliance. Your challenges arrive not as obstacles, but as instruments of refinement. Each difficulty you encounter acts as nature's polishing cloth, revealing the radiance that has always existed within. When the village elder discovered Clara by the stream, he placed a rough stone in her palm. "Close your eyes," he instructed. "Feel not its surface, but its potential." As she held the stone, something shifted in her understanding. The coarseness against her skin became not an affront, but an invitation. Each point of friction, a promise of revelation. You stand now where Clara stood, perhaps viewing your circumstances as evidence of cosmic disfavor. Yet within every challenge lies a hidden correspondence with your becoming. The pressure that feels unbearable today shapes the strength you'll embody tomorrow. Your difficulties are not punishments but preparations, each one carefully calibrated to reveal your inherent light. The universe operates through the law of polarity. Through contrast comes clarity. Just as the darkest night reveals the brightest stars, your challenges illuminate the very qualities you're meant to embody. What appears as resistance serves as the catalyst for your emergence. Sacred practice. Find a rough stone or textured object. Hold it in your palm and close your eyes. Feel its uneven surface against your skin. As you trace its edges, remember, you too are in process. Within you lies a diamond being sculpted by life's precise pressures. Breathe deeply and affirm, this resistance reveals my resilience. This pressure perfects my light. Let this moment remind you that refinement, not punishment, guides your path. Feel the stone resting in your palm as though it were a mirror to your inner landscape. Its roughness is not a flaw, but a testament to the forces that shaped it. Winds, waters, time, and pressure all leaving their signature upon its form. As your fingers explore every ridge and contour, let yourself recognize the quiet truth it teaches. Nothing meaningful becomes smooth without first being shaped by contrast. Your own journey carries these marks of becoming, each one evidence of the strength already anchoring you. As you breathe with this awareness, notice how the stone's solid weight grounds you. In its silence, it holds the story of transformation, the same story unfolding within you. The pressures you encounter are not random nor cruel. They are the chisels that carve away what is no longer needed. Just as earth compresses carbon into a diamond, life compresses experience into wisdom, depth, and radiance. The resistance you feel does not weaken you. It sharpens your clarity, strengthens your core, and makes your light unmistakable. Let your affirmation become a soft vow whispered inwardly, not a demand to be stronger, but a recognition that strength is already present. Know that refinement is a sacred process, not a correction. Each moment of tension, each edge you learn to soften, is part of the artistry shaping you. Trust that this sculpting is purposeful, guiding you toward a brilliance that can only emerge through the alchemy of pressure, patience, and inner evolution. Chapter 30. The Universe Spoke Your Name. Within a small mountain shrine, Reuben spent years studying ancient texts and performing rituals, seeking the perfect words to manifest his desires. He collected prayers like precious stones, believing that if he could just find the right combination of sacred syllables, the universe would finally hear him. One dawn, as he chanted his carefully crafted mantras, a gentle breeze scattered his scrolls across the shrine floor. In the sudden silence, he heard something remarkable, the beating of his own heart, pulsing in perfect rhythm with the world around him. This moment reveals the deepest truth about manifestation. It is not about learning a new language, but remembering the one your soul has always known. Your very existence vibrates with the frequency of creation. Each breath you take is already a prayer, each heartbeat already a sacred chant. When you attempt to manifest through forced words or rigid ritual, you often override the natural resonance already present within you. The universe doesn't need translation. It speaks the language of your authentic being. Your desires aren't separate forces to be summoned. They are echoes of what already exists within your energetic blueprint. Like Reuben, you may have believed that spiritual power lies in the perfect arrangement of words or actions. Yet true manifestation emerges from allowing yourself to vibrate at the frequency of your natural state. When you align with this inner resonance, the outer world cannot help but reflect it back to you. Consider how a crystal doesn't strain to shine. It simply allows light to pass through its natural structure. Similarly, your highest manifestations occur not through effort, but through alignment with who you truly are. The ancient sages knew this truth. The power of creation doesn't respond to what you say, but to what you are. Your state of being is your prayer. Your natural frequency is your offering. When you return to this understanding, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Practice. Sit in a quiet space and whisper your name as though it were a sacred mantra. Feel how it reverberates through your being. Notice how creation answers back with a soft but certain yes. This is not an affirmation. It is a recognition of the divine agreement that has always existed between you and the universe. Sit with that whisper a moment longer, and you'll sense that your own name is more than a label. It is a frequency. It carries the memory of who you have been and the possibility of who you are becoming. As it moves through your breath, it awakens a subtle resonance within the deeper layers of your consciousness, stirring a recognition that feels older than time itself. In that resonance, the universe becomes less of an external force and more of a silent companion, attuned to the vibration you emit. The soft yes you feel is not spoken, yet unmistakably heard. It is the echo of your own existence being acknowledged, as though creation itself turns its gaze toward you in response to your quiet invocation. When you realize this connection is not something you must earn, summon, or prove, your inner world begins to shift. The dialogue between you and the infinite becomes natural, a gentle exchange of intention, awareness, and energy. In this sacred stillness, you remember that you are not calling the universe. You are conversing with it. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The moment you began this journey, a subtle awakening had already begun within you. Like a flower sensing dawn before the first ray breaks horizon, your spirit recognized these teachings before your mind could name them. This recognition wasn't coincidence. It was resonance. Through these chapters, you've discovered that readiness isn't something you achieve. It's something you remember. The universe has been waiting not for your perfection, but for your permission. Every time you paused to breathe, every moment you chose trust over certainty, every instance you allowed joy to replace worry, these were not mere exercises. They were remembrances. You now understand that manifestation flows not from endless asking, but from energetic availability. The practices weren't tasks to complete, but frequencies to embody. Each chapter revealed another facet of your inherent alignment with universal abundance. What appeared as waiting was actually preparation. What felt like delay was divine timing in motion. Your doubts were not obstacles, but opportunities to deepen trust. Your challenges weren't tests, but invitations to expand. The universe speaks your name with every sunrise, whispers your potential in every breeze, reflects your power in every star. You are not separate from this cosmic dance. You are essential to its choreography. Your desires aren't wishes to be granted. They are seeds already sprouting in the garden of possibility. Now, as these teachings settle into your bones, understand that readiness isn't a destination, but a frequency you've always carried. The next step isn't ahead of you. It's within you, waiting to be expressed through your willingness to trust, to release, to receive. You are seen. You are heard. You are ready. Not because you've earned it, but because you've always been it. The universe isn't waiting for you to become worthy. It's waiting for you to recognize the worthiness that has never left you.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.